Only talk it out.
Do you not have people at the sides who are almost...
I think it was interesting that Paul was looking up here at us.
Because they're having difficulty with their own personal hierarchy of sorting out the appropriate command structure for this. What they're doing is they're looking for approval, saying, is one of us talking sense?
The archers fire over the infantry.
Yeah.
The archers then run forward, they go down again. They keep doing this until they get over to the road. This is what happened. Are you with me, Jules?
Yeah,
You know what
I'm with you.
about?
Well, that's extremely tiring for the archers.
No, but that's what they did.
To keep running
but that's what they did, so it must have worked.
Well, look, you've heard the advice of your lieutenants, and they're not thrilled with the plan, as I understand it. But the generals, you have to carry it out.
The team's time ran out long ago, but their debate is still going round in circles. And the stakes are high. Can they save Roman Britain and defeat the Iceni rebellion?
Yeah. We only have 10,000. They have 60,000. If we all just stay together, they will just surround us.
That's why we go as a block with the archers behind.
OK, well, this is a clear separation. The lieutenants want to stay as a block. The generals want to split up.
Yeah.
Joe, what are you going to do?
We're going to have our front line here of infantry. They're going to be protected by the archers, even though these are all going to hit us. But we should be quite strong. These, I think the consensus is we want them as mop-ups, yeah? Because we don't want them to be... They're not too strong against these. We still need to keep quite a broad line, I think.
Are we still using
because we
that one at the
don't want
end,
to end up getting completely
we
surrounded.
All right, OK.
Yeah.
Joe,
That's the battle plan. Now, prepare to go into battle. Use this map and listen carefully to everything your lieutenants are telling you. Are you clear what you have to do?
Yeah.
I'm not... These aren't all in the right place
Joe,
yet.
stop moaning. It's time to deploy your troops.
After much debate, the generals have decided to confront their enemy head-on. Leading their vastly outnumbered forces downhill, a front line of legionary troops will support 2 units of archers.
Paul, we're going to have to do a bit of mingling as well.
You've got the archers, I've got the infantry, so I need to set the infantry up. You put the archers behind my infantry.
OK, well, you get your infantry set up.
The generals have settled on holding their key troops, the auxiliary cavalry, in deep reserve.
We could actually
Take a look. Gary. We have a look,
We should go and take a look, shall we?
But which battle will command the generals' full attention? The one on the field, or the one amongst themselves?
But they're starting to move now, Joe, down the centre.
There, though. There's
Joe,
nothing.
we've got cavalry moving down the centre now.
The British troops have suddenly begun their advance. 60,000 furious Britons, under the leadership of Queen Boudica, descend on an outnumbered force, determined to repel the Roman occupation. It's time for the Romans to get their act together.
We need to give some information then. We need to let...
You could move your troops.
Yeah.
Tell them what to do. They won't do anything unless you tell them.
Looking at it, do you want to just move our army forward a bit?
Which bit of your army do you want to move?
Or move all of it slightly forward.
OK.
Paul, are you listening to them?
Yes, sorry.
We need to move our army forward, but just slightly.
OK.
At last, the Romans begin to deploy.
I thought you liked the protection of the hills behind you.
Well, we're not moving far. We still actually have the topography behind us. But until we actually see what the enemy is starting to do, then we need to modify it as we go along. How far are you moving the archers for?
They're just taking ages.
Before they have their first...
They are running.
Joe's original plan was to wait on the high ground. Now that the Celts are on the move, she seems determined to launch a frontal assault.
Right, see that? Look, oh, they're at the road now. We're still way back there. Can they run?
Then mine can catch up, because then I can actually see what you've done, Paul, because I can't actually understand what
I put 2 lines of
you've
infantry right at the front, so you're
but you look like you put them there and there. I thought we were putting them there and there.
Look how spread out.
The Romans are just...
They're really spread out. They are sitting ducks.
They're moving away from the protection of that fold in the ground.
And although the ancient Brits have brought their infantry up, there's still quite a long way. There's still, that's quite a bit of marching time. But it's not that long a time to send some cavalry and chariots in. They could get in there amongst them really any minute now.
What's going on here? Who's me and which
They're
one's...
still keeping just behind the road at the moment, Joe. You have to see
they're
that
not- yeah, they're not moving.
the infantry is actually on
General,
the
do you want your troops to move?
Why do you think? Why are they not coming?
because they're waiting to see what we're going to do.
The team are thrown by Boudica's decision to stand and wait. Confused orders filter down to the ranks for a pointless and tiring change in formation.
OK, right, the infantry are just about in place in one long
And
line.
my archers are just coming up behind
Can
now.
we have your archers spread out?
So,
look
yeah,
at the
spread
distance.
the archers out so there's a very thin line
Jill,
of them. Yes.
and that's the they've travelled all this distance. They've stopped at the road now. They seem to not be wanting to go any further. We've still got this massive gap.
They don't want to meet us on the plain, do they? They're trying to draw. Well, they want to meet us. They're trying to draw us out so they can just power straight through.
What's behind?
Well, they're saving energy, aren't they?
If the Britons provoke the Romans into coming down the hill, down the valley, away from that position of advantage, we're going to see a battle between Joe, who wants to remain concentrated, and Gary, who wants to disperse.
To go down, absolutely.
That's right. And Gary is the assertive one, and Joe is the one who really understands what's going on.
Well, to a point, I think.
This isn't looking too
Joe,
much like what's on the
Joe
box.
and Gary, I'm still not clear. Are you happy with where your forces are?
Well, we're moving our forces forward.
These ones.
How far
now.
forward are you going to move them? Because you wanted to stay in basically the same position, didn't you?
Yeah. Are we going
But
to?
they've stopped, haven't they?
So does that mean you have to move?
How many groups of after the archers do we need? Is it 4 groups?
Are we putting them into those sumo shapes to deal with? Well, the plan was we still had to wait and see what their army was going to do, and so we have to modify as we go along.
The team is trying to create a front line.
But there's no depth here.
No depth.
Cavalry can crash through that.
And those are narrow lines of archers.
Absolutely.
And
They're
those
very
archers haven't
fine.
got anything to protect them from cavalry.
Cavalry and chariots can get round there, get behind those archers, and bear in mind that the cavalry and the chariots are both using missile weapons. They don't even have to come in contact. They just need to get within 20 yards, and they really can
chucking
just
those missiles
chuck
in
it
there.
in.
We've done it.
We need to
And
move
then
ours
we need
forward
the rest
then.
of the
We need
stuff.
the rest, the rest on the board
Your
so
other
we can put them
infantry
on.
are behind.
Behind it.
Have you got infantry behind your archers?
Quite
Is that what we need? Right.
So, Joe, are we actually? Joe,
The enemy is closing in. We've done nothing yet.
infantry.
Joe, are we
They're
actually?
coming in. They're coming in now.
Having tempted the Romans off the high ground, Boudica orders her troops to advance across Watling Street. With Boudica's chariots fast approaching, the first engagement of the battle is about to begin. Can the team's ground troops respond in time?
The archers are firing at them. Are they getting anything?
We need to fire at will, Jill.
Yeah.
The chariots are coming round the back.
The chariots are breaking the formations.
Look at this lot. Where's
The
all their
team is
formation?
falling for it. The team is
really
doing
are.
just what the
That's
Britons
right.
want them
And what
to
they'll
do.
do is they'll start fighting this fire.
That's right. They're going to focus on that. They'll take their minds off the rest of the battlefield.
We're shooting our own men now.
Your arrows are hitting us.
I know.
You're killing our troops.
I know. I'm telling them off.
Why?
Yes,
You
stop them,
can't
because
tell
they
them
keep
off.
hitting each other.
And now look at the chariots. They've done their job, and the chariots are speeding away.
Speeding away. Absolutely. Hit and run.
Can you
Right, the
actually
rest,
find
they're charging now.
where the archers
Apparently,
charging
Gary,
now.
that was a trick to make us go in and lose all our troops.
coming forward, which is why we needed the
Now
archers.
we're running away, and running away is not necessarily good
Right,
for
Stop them. Is that mine or yours?
Is that us? Can we stop those?
Look at that line. Oh, my goodness. These people are
vulnerable.
strung out.
So vulnerable. Got to have depth. There've got to be 4 or 5 at least.
The problem is that we heard somebody before talking about Ben-Hur, and they have got cultural preconceptions about war. They think there needs to be a front line. They think it needs to be long, and this is true if you've got muskets. But they don't have muskets. What a Roman army needs is depth.
After an initial chariot ambush which shattered the Roman front line, Boudica's infantry are now approaching in great strength. How will the Romans respond?
Should we do the tortoise thing?
If
I
in
wanna
doubt,
do the
if in
tortoise
doubt, do
thing.
the tortoise.